Good evening. Actually, I called us out to take a stance, to actually take an action on now what is a very loud and vicious sound. Um, it's horrific that our community has to continuously go through this. These murders in our very own streets is at an alarming rate. The question is, as a community, collectively, what are we going to do? It's a job of only the brave can take on. It's a job for someone who is willing to sacrifice everything that they done gained through living life to take a stance on this. You have to be willing to say, I don't care about nothing else but my community. Having a genuine love and a genuine care for the community is all that matters during these times, because we have to remember we're in the middle of a pandemic and we come together to risk our lives to show how important it is to stand for our community and saying that these killings have to stop. We have such a pain in us all that it immobilizes us. It forbids us to even think straight. It causes us an imbalance, and it brings us to a feeling of feeling numb, like life is over. I can't imagine the pain that a parent has to experience and feel when they lose a child to gun violence. What I can say is I understand the pain of losing a child to being an irresponsible father. However, with that situation, you have a second chance. Those that have lost the battle to gun violence will never have a chance again. With that, those parents will mourn for the rest of their lives. They will carry your pain to their grave. We have to understand, we all acknowledge, all of us organizations that came together today that stand behind me in solidarity understand that we have one common enemy, and they exhaust every bit of their energy to create opportunities to eradicate our bloodline. They're building prisons for blacks, not for white men. Nobody cares about us. They try to say that we're products of our former slave masters, but we're not as bad as we're acting. We aren't the manufacturer of these guns. We just have some. However, we gotta stop the killing. Young blacks and Hispanic are dying at an alarming rate due to vicious gun violence. Something needs to click within them so that they can understand that it's more safer not to have a gun than to own one. We are going to stand together as a community to attempt to stop these killings so that our black community can stop mourning. And as I stand in solidarity with the brothers and sisters behind me, I'm going to relinquish the podium to them. Thank you.
I would like to say, first of all, that too many times we have to come together for the same reason, and it's heartbreaking and it's traumatizing to my community. Every time a black man is shot, it doesn't matter who is the culprit or the perpetrator, it's devastating loss for our community. We can't afford any more death in our community. And this heartbreaking incident that just happened, it happened so fast, I can't even wrap my head around it. This last couple weeks has been a page out of hell. It's a nightmare what's happening in our community. And Providence is on pace with some of the worst homicides rates in all the major cities in the country. And that's not a stat that we're proud of. There's too many people that are grieving, family members, friends, people who are personally affected, and us here together, community leaders who organized this, grieving as well for our community that is still in the process of healing from the police brutality, from the racial profiling, from the rampant injustice and horrendous sentencing, the poor representation, and the overall systemic oppression and institutional discrimination that we face. So the last thing we need is to be shooting our own selves in the foot. But I'm glad that we have the resolve where we can all come together like this, have each other's back, and understand that we might be shattered, but we're not broken. We will cry, we will mourn, and we will press on. We will continue to fight the good fight. We will continue to work to put ourselves and our community in a better situation, and in a situation where we don't feel we have to resort to gun violence to survive or to get attention. Again, we will continue to fight against the systemic and institutional racism that is deliberate, and it's designed to put us in a position where we lose our minds, where we have no opportunity, and where we resort to this kind of a thing. We're not ignorant to what's happening. We know it. It's willful, and like I said, it's deliberate. But we will continue to press on, but we come together here now to mourn the loss of this young man. These last 2 weeks have been horrific and horrendous, and I just pray that there is a respite, that we get a break, that we get a breather from this gun violence. And with that being said, I want to thank all these esteemed leaders who are here today to speak on behalf of this and do what leaders do. Come together in a time of crisis like this to lend their voice, to lend support and encouragement to those who are still grieving and reeling from this absolute senseless gun violence that has our whole community stunned. And with that,
I'm here to say that most of the organizations that are here, if not all the organizations that are here, have been fighting institutional racism their whole adult lives. Institutional racism is real. However, nothing, absolutely nothing justifies the taking of somebody else's life within our community. Nothing justifies having parents, especially mothers, grieving for their lost son. Nothing. Nothing is worth that. There's no rationale, there's no reasoning for that. Enough is enough. We must stop the violence now. We must stop it. We are going to continue to fight the institutional racism that has created the conditions in our community. No community should go under the kind of conditions that we live under, and we understand that. But while we fight institutional racism that has caused all the disparities and all the conditions in our community, we are urging the community to work with us and stop the violence, stop the killing. Enough is enough. Nobody is worth getting killed over. Nobody's going to gain from anything like that. So please, we understand how conditions are, but we also understand that you do not have to take somebody's life to solve any situation. You do not have to. We know that, and you know that. So enough is enough. Stop the violence, and we're going to continue to fight against institutional racism. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Mercado, known as Crook Rock, and I'm coming from the point of view as not only just a leader, but someone who was in the streets running wild and being violent. And when you're young, you're not really thinking much. You're caught up in the moment, you know, and sometimes you don't have somebody telling you what you're doing is wrong. You only have other friends encouraging you, you know. And there were times where we would be in gunfights, and I would wonder to myself, what would it feel like to take somebody's life? Because I was in the streets running wild. People were shooting at us. We had guns. And I would wonder to myself, what would it feel like to take somebody's life? And I didn't really realize what I was asking myself. But within a year, I had taken somebody's life in a fight. I was the aggressor. I was the one who caused the death. And before I knew that the guy had passed away, I was thinking to myself, I don't want to know what it's like to take somebody's life, because the last thing I wanted to be known for or responsible for is taking a young man's life. I did one extreme, I'm in the streets wild and don't care. And then another extreme, when it happens, my whole mentality is different. And the young people need to know that that moment that you're in, the violence, the friends encouraging you, that moment's gonna pass when something real happens and you're caught up in the situation. Either you're gonna die or you're gonna go to jail like I did for many years and lost all my 20s in prison when they were supposed to be the greatest years of my life. So I'm talking from my own experience. At least I was lucky enough to get back out here in the streets, to give back to the community, to give back for what I had taken away. But I think that as adults, being experienced, going through what we've gone through, seeing what we have seen, it's up to us to see these youth and recognize what they're doing, what they're going through, how they're feeling. We need to pay attention and be able to intervene before they get too wild and caught up in following what the friends are doing. So as adults, as leaders, as brothers, as fathers, as friends, we need to make it our responsibility to pay attention to these youth that appear to be wanting to take that wild ride. You dig what I'm saying? We need to be able to stop them and let them know what it is and what the consequences are and talk from our own true experiences. So, you know, my message is for all the adults more than to the youth, because the youth, they don't know. They just going about, you know, doing what they do, following what they see. But the adults, us, we know what life is about. We've been through it all. We've seen it all. It's up to us to stop in our tracks and cross the street and go tell that brother, hey brother, what's up with you? How you feeling? You look like you down. Let's talk to each other. Let's communicate with the youth more. Let's not separate from them because they're different, because their pants are sagging, because they're listening to a different type of music, because they're smoking weed. You know what? It doesn't matter what they're doing. We have to go intervene and let them know that we care. And maybe if they know that we care, they'll start to care about themselves. All right? My name is Crook Rock. I appreciate everybody that's here today taking their time out, because I'm tired of seeing young men lose their life. I'm tired of seeing young men going to jail and all these dreams and possibilities of these kids becoming great leaders themselves are being lost to violence, and it's completely unnecessary. We need education and we need love and respect for each other more than everything. Peace, y'all.
What I'm gonna say is gonna be short and sweet. I hope that this press conference leads to the call of action that it should be, the war cry that it should be, that we need to stop defunding recreation centers, community centers, places that the kids need to go to avoid the violence in the streets. We're standing in front of a boxing ring that should be funded to allow more kids to be able to get off the street and into these kind of places. So I really hope that this wakes people up to show, stop defunding our communities. We need the funding in these communities for these kids to grow and learn and be productive members of society. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Bella Noka. First, I want to say I love everybody out there, all the young ones who are going through all this pain, the young kids who have lost a dad, who have lost a brother, the mothers who have lost sons. You lost your friend. It works on both sides, the one who has taken and the one who has been taken. And it's going to continue that tit for tat until somebody ceases, stops. And both sides are too caught up in their emotions and their passion and their love for their brother to want to stop. They want vengeance. They see the police murdering their brothers. So with the hypocrisy of the police coming in and protecting anybody, they don't see that either. They don't see this. When you talk about the government saying our black young men are out of control with turf wars and rioting, and as seen in Chicago or here, we see our government going to other countries and killing our brown men like anything over oil. War is nothing new to us. Killing is nothing new to us. But we are brothers and we are sisters. And we have a different kind of people because we love with our hearts and our spirits. We don't speak in code, we speak in spirit. And when one is affected, we're all affected. Those little kids that you look and you want to protect because their father is gone, because they can't walk them across the stage while they're graduating, or they can't walk them down the aisle as they get married now, or you'll never shake hands, have that drink or that smoke with them. You're missing them just like the other side is missing their brother. I had a nephew taken from me not too long ago. He was murdered in Fox Point. I had a cousin that was murdered shortly after. I know the pain that's involved. I know what it's like to want vengeance. I know what it's like to sit there and see my niece or my sister crying and not knowing how to deal with the pain myself. I know that pain. I hate it, and I wanted what you wanted. But where will it end? Do I go after them and then they come after somebody and then they accidentally kill what? A child? Or kill someone innocent? Wouldn't it be cool if we stayed and kept our own little, on our side of town, they stayed on their side of town, and everything in between, whether it be the mall or down the highway or, you know, streets that we all have to go within, they'd be neutral grounds where nothing happens. Nobody goes into each other's territories. They just keep their peace. We can find a way, we can find a solution, but the murdering has to stop because it's killing our souls. And when you kill one, you kill 1,000 because everybody is hurt in your community, everyone is hurt in your family, everyone is hurt that loves you. And they're never repaired. They're never complete because that person that they love is not coming home. So I ask you, as a tribal elder, as a friend, as someone who grew up in these streets, to try to find a way, because this isn't the way. I love you all.
My name is Osmond Weeks. I'm a carpenter, and today you've heard these brothers and sisters speak. The call has been made. City councilors, state reps, listen up. The call has been made. Fund our community centers. Fund our gyms. Have places for the youth to go to. Have places so they can get off the streets. Help with getting rid of the guns. The guns are the biggest problem. Help get rid of the guns off the street, you know? You put a gun into somebody with limited experience, all they do is pull the trigger. We got to get rid of the guns off the street, you know? So city councilors, state reps, help us. This community is tired. They want action. They want help from the people that we vote into power. We want help from these people. So we put you in there, so help us. This community is asking you for your help. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yo, peace to everybody that came out today.
Peace.
I just want to say that all too often that, especially lately, we've been having to come together for reasons like this. And it's happened so many times lately that we're starting to get desensitized by it. And I say that because it's becoming a normal thing where this happens and then people say, well, look at Providence. What's wrong with Providence? Why does Providence keep having these problems? And they keep looking at our city as if we do this to ourselves. And in many cases, as my brothers have said, it is our own it's our own decisions that we make in life. where a lot of times we have to take responsibility for those decisions and for those actions. And this is why I continue to promote positive events. I keep trying to promote unifying events to bring people together so we don't have to keep coming together like this. We've seen it so many times in our lives where this continues to happen. And a lot of it's not talked about because we're talking about other things and a lot of other issues. But I just appreciate the fact that people can come to understanding that the reason why the Lord does things like this, and he shows us by example, there's nothing that we can do that's greater than he is. And there's nothing that we can say that is going to change the will of God. So I believe it is our mission to keep on supporting each other, supporting the positive movements that we have in the city. We have so many issues that's going on that nobody wants to talk about. But the only time they want to come together and talk about it is either on Facebook or behind closed doors. We need more people coming together at the positive events that we do have in the city, so we don't keep getting a bad name that we have to keep coming together for reasons like this. And that's only going to happen if we start to realize that it's not going to stop. We have to realize this won't stop until we come together and we continue to support the right things in the city that are going to continue to bring people together in a positive way, because only light can break the darkness. There is no evilness in this world that is going to fix anything that happened. This is the fourth funeral, or not the funeral, the fourth. This is the fourth time something has happened like this in this city, and in too short of a span, where we have to continue to support the positive things, or if we don't, it's going to keep being this. We're going to have to come together for reasons like this. So that is why I feel it's very important for the people that are here that are speaking to be able to be heard, and that people share these messages and share the messages of people that are trying to fight to help the community and have been doing it for a long time, and they can't do it by themselves. We need to help the people that have been fighting for the change instead of hiding, instead of ignoring it, instead of looking at other things to feed our selfish happiness. We have to look at the things that it might be uncomfortable to speak about. And people have a lot of things to say when it comes down to who shows up and who doesn't show up. And there's a lot of people that say that they're going to try to take away from the spirit of the message by saying in a different way. But we have to remember that the spirit of that message is a constant, ongoing fight where people are going to have to keep on doing this for the community, and we're going to have to keep on trying to put positive things in the community, and we have to do it twice as hard now. We have to go 10 times as hard now, because we've already been in a situation for 300 years where we've been fighting to get out of that situation. So I don't want to speak about putting blame on anybody or anything that we're gonna blame somebody else. We have to look at ourselves, and the only way that we get out of this is if we keep putting positivity back into the community and keep making sure that we keep the keep it on our minds. We got to keep it on our minds that there is light after the darkness. We just have to make sure that we do it and we come together and make sure that we do this. And I appreciate everybody that was here. I usually don't speak a lot in front of camera, but I do positive events throughout the city. But due to COVID, and I know I'm not wearing my mask right now, but due to COVID, we're not allowed to do what we could do before for positive events, uplifting events. So we do have to find a way that we can have we can come together in different creative formats. So as long as we still are able to tell people positive things instead of going by what everybody else is saying about the city, I think that's the most important part. And I probably used up all my time, but it's very important that we don't let the people that are putting negative spins on things like this, because there's crime all over the state. There's crime everywhere. There's different things that happen everywhere that nobody wants to talk about. But once they put something like this on the news, then all of a sudden it becomes, that's what the city's about. And that's why we have to keep doing positive events to show people that are not from Providence that we do have a really tight community out here. Families, hardworking families, hardworking people. And that's why we have to continue this fight. Because if we don't continue to fight that way and show the positivity, the darkness is gonna win. And that's all.
So I don't know the individual who passed last night who was taken too early. What I do know is that it pains me. It pains me to see people dying when they shouldn't be dying. So I'm gonna reiterate what everyone else said. It all starts at the youth level. If there's no programs for these children to go to, then they're gonna end up on the streets. And we're gonna keep on going through this over and over and over again. And it has to stop. We all need to come together, and we all need to sit there and find out and come with solutions, real life solutions on what we're gonna do to change this. Everybody. I'm talking to all black men out there who are seeing me speak right now. You need to step up in your neighborhoods, and if it's not your neighborhood, step up as well. Come to the forefront and let everybody know you're not having this anymore. Right. We don't need more police in our neighborhoods either. We don't need that. We need to police ourselves. We need to be strong and step up and do what we have to do. That's right. That's all I'm really gonna say. That's it.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Torres. I live in Providence. Oh, okay. I can't. Because of school. All right. My name's Elizabeth Torres. I grew up in South Providence. I myself have lost many, many friends to gun violence at a very early age and into adulthood. This is not a jungle. We are not animals. We are in this fight together and not to bring each other down. As a nurse, I have seen so many people die from violence, and I wonder how many more it's going to take for it to stop. You may not like someone, but that does not mean we have to resort to this constant violence. We need to use our anger and frustrations in a positive way. We need to raise each other up and keep pushing forward to get out of this darkness.
In closing, I stand here in solidarity with my brothers and my sisters standing behind me, and collectively, as a collective unit, we call out to the community to say, let's get together and stand together against this vicious cycle of shootings that is taking our folks away. Thank you.